The training evangelist here at QuoteWerks, and today we are here for a feature spotlight webinar where we'll be spotlighting the Pax8 integration with QuoteWerks. It's a relatively new integration with QuoteWerks that is quite robust and gives you the ability to quote subscriptions from your Pax8 account on QuoteWerks Quotes. With that being said, the integration itself does have some prerequisites, so you are going to need to have your Pax8 credentials to authenticate with Pax8 and pull subscription options into QuoteWerks. And then you're going to need to either be on the Pinnacle edition if you're using QuoteWerks Web, or if you're using QuoteWerks Desktop, you're going to need to have the real-time module and product content subscription. Now, with that being said, this integration itself gives you the ability to access the Pax8 marketplace directly and search and browse subscriptions within QuoteWerks. That search and browse gives you access to real-time pricing and availability from Pax8 and gives you the ability to search through and filter down to find exactly what subscriptions you might want to include. Now, part of the process of building these subscriptions and bringing them into QuoteWerks is creating a SKU or a way in which that particular part number denotes both the billing term and the commitment term. And overall, what this integration does is gives you the ability to integrate with Pax8 and put those subscriptions on your quotes in just a single click. Now, the integration itself is relatively simple. It is a part of our existing product lookup window. So if you go and access the product lookup window, you'll see there's now a tab there that says Pax8 if you have it enabled. And this gives you the ability to search the Pax8's catalog by term, vendor, or you can even show all subscriptions that are currently available to you. Now, you can choose the services, subscription, and commitment options as well, and that's going to be one-time, monthly, or yearly. And it's a one-click add to document, and QuoteWerks is going to do the rest for you. And one of the great things about this is that the subscriptions are set to recurring in QuoteWerks. So what you're able to do is you're able to take those subscriptions, pass them into your PSA system, and then you use your PSA system to both provision and bill those particular products as well. Now, when it comes to the PSA integration, the Pax8 items are going to flow seamlessly from QuoteWerks into your PSA, just like any other product service would in QuoteWerks. And once those subscriptions are active, license counts and adjustments can then be managed through Pax8 and your PSA integration. So really a seamless solution that takes into account both your relationship with Pax8 and your leveraging of a PSA solution as well. Now, when it comes to the integration, that's about it, right? There's not much more for us to go through and really talk about, but I'd rather like to show you the integration in QuoteWerks Web. So important to mention that the Pax8 integration is both available in QuoteWerks Desktop and QuoteWerks Web, but I'm going to be demonstrating it here in QuoteWerks Web today. I didn't mention it, but if you do have any questions, or if you do want to see this demonstrated in QuoteWerks Desktop as well, just let me know. Use the questions box there and go to meeting, and we'll progress as makes the most sense. So here we are in QuoteWerks Web. There's actually one thing that we would need to do to set up the integration, and it's relatively easy to do. You're just going to want to go to Setup, then Options, then Real Time, and then click on Pax8. This is going to be where you're going to put in your Pax8 credentials. You can go ahead and connect them to your Pax8 account, and then when you hit Test, it'll show you that the Pax8 API authentication was successful. Now, also on this web page, you have the ability to do some field mapping, so you can determine what field you want the part number field to be mapped to. In most cases, this is going to be manufacturer part number. You can choose where you want the Pax8 GUID to be stored, and you can choose any of our custom fields that we have in the system. And then for the description of the product itself, the long description field, you can choose another option here and map it to one of our custom memo fields as well. You can choose an item type, so product, service, software, labor. This is all being pulled from the QuoteWerks system. We're going to go ahead and say this is software. And then we've discussed also, again, the fact that you're able to choose billing terms and commitment terms for these subscriptions. Well, part of that process is when you select them, there's going to be a billing term suffix and a commitment term suffix that's added to the part number, which will designate what the billing term and commitment terms are respectively. And we'll show you how that works in just a minute here. Once you've gone through and you've inserted your credentials and you've done your field mapping and set up what you want your suffixes to be, And it's just a matter of going into Pax8 and starting to populate your quote with some products. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate back to our workspace here, and I'm going to open a new document. And we're going to show you this process from start to finish. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to add a sold to contact here just so that we have one in our document. I'm going to pull in computer, but I need to spell it correctly. Looking for Computer Hut here and Ryan Dan. So we're going to add him to our sold to, ship to, and bill to fields. And then we're ready to start adding products to our document. And the way that you would do that is you want to access the product lookup window, and there's actually 3 different ways you can do that. You can either go to the products icon, you can go to products and then lookup, or you can click on products over here on the left-hand side. Now, most of you that have worked with QuoteWerks in the past are probably used to coming in and selecting a product database, whether it's a local database or maybe a connected database, and then finding your products that way. Maybe even you have an Eatalize subscription and you've pulled in products from Eatalize before. Well, it's a very similar process when it comes to Pax8. As you can see now, we have a Pax8 tab here on the product lookup window. And this is where you're going to be able to search all of your different subscription options. So for example, I'm going to type in Microsoft 365, and I'm going to make it so that only the Microsoft shows for vendors as well. And then hit search. And this is going to provide me with all of the different subscription list options that I have that have the vendor of Microsoft and the search term of Microsoft 365. Now, when you're going through this, you'd want to go and find the specific one that you're looking for. You can look up search terms by ID as well. So if you have the ID, you can easily find that. And when you select your particular subscription, what happens is it's going to bring the description for that subscription right here in the middle of the screen. And then it's going to present you with all the different subscription options that are available. So you'll see that under subscription options, we have our billing term, commitment term, type, unit of measure, buy rate, and suggested retail. So the buy rate is going to be your cost, and the suggested retail is going to be the MSRP. And you can see that there's a number of different options that we have here from perspective of billing terms and commitment terms, and these can be interchanged as well. So for example, if we wanted, we could add this particular product to our document as a monthly billing term with a 1-year commitment. And it's as easy as selecting that commitment term and billing term and then hitting add to document. If we go back to the document itself, you can see that it has been added, and we can then work in the document to say change our quantities. We could come in and adjust our price modifier. And as we saw before, or as we saw with the setup, you can see that we have our part number here, which is the part number -MTH, meaning the monthly billing term, and then 1YR, which means the yearly commitment. Now, if we scroll over, you'll see as well that that long form description has been brought over into our custom memo 01 field as well as we set it up there in the configuration settings. One other thing that's also quite good about this integration is that QuoteWerks picks up on the recurring nature of your subscriptions. So if you look down at the bottom when we have the particular part selected, we'll see that this is in fact a recurring product. It's monthly with the first month included. And we can actually verify that if we go and right click and go to edit line attributes. You can see that that line has in fact been brought over as a recurring product, and it's been set with the billing cycle as monthly. So very cool integration, gives you the ability again to bring the product into the quote, and not only is the product brought into the quote, but it's also brought in with those recurring properties as well. So with a typical delivery, what we would do here if we're working with a quote is we would then save the quote. I currently have it integrated with ConnectWise here, but you could certainly have it integrated with any of our CRM or PSA integrations, or potentially just be using the built-in QuoteWerks CRM. But I'm going to go ahead and show you the process of integrating with ConnectWise, and we're going to go ahead and create a new sales opportunity here. So here we are just going through the process of creating a new opportunity. We'll go ahead and fill out a couple of these fields. And one thing that we want to make sure that is checked is this create/update individual product items, because that's what's going to actually bring over that subscription into our opportunity in ConnectWise. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save to begin the process of creating that opportunity in ConnectWise. And in just a moment, once that process is done, we can then go over into ConnectWise and see this in action. So I'm going to go over to my links tab, and I'm going to open that opportunity in ConnectWise. And you can see that opportunity has been brought over to ConnectWise, and so has our product. You can see the product ID has been brought over, and this particular product also shows as recurring, as you can see based on this little icon that we have here. So not only has it been brought into the QuoteWerks quote as recurring, we've been able to quote it out to our customers, secure that sale, but we're also able to pass that product into ConnectWise or your other CRM or PSA, and then be able to use that PSA system to then fulfill and bill out that particular subscription. So once we have all the opportunity set up, the next step would be for us to deliver this to the customer. So we click on the deliver icon, we choose our layouts, and in this case, I'm going to upload this to Quote Valet. Quote Valet is QuoteWerks' online delivery and acceptance vehicle for quotes and proposals. In Quote Valet, we have the ability to set different signing options and reminder options. I'm going to go ahead and upload this to Quote Valet, and we'll show you a representation of what this would look like on an actual quote. So here we've got our Quote Valet webpage, and you can see that we have our 50 Microsoft 365 Business Premium licenses included on the quote here. Now, if a customer wanted to move forward with this, all they'd have to do is select their payment options, agree and accept, and give us their signature. And then we are ready to go and start fulfilling that product through our PSA system. Now, one other component that we have here, particularly when it relates to our ConnectWise integration, is once that opportunity has been won, we're able to then go and close that opportunity as won in ConnectWise and also create other tickets, which you can do with some of our other integrations as well. So, for example, we just converted this quote to an order. Now we're being prompted to close the existing opportunity as won. You can see the status has been updated to 1 in QuoteWerks, and our probability has been updated to 100%. And at this point in the process, this is where you could potentially come in and create a project, create an agreement from an opportunity. So you might want to create an agreement for your subscription. You can create a sales order if you want to bill it out via ConnectWise. And then you can create service tickets as well. And you can determine how you want to do that based on whether it's a product, service, or both. So once we've made our selections and hit save, that's going to go ahead and close that opportunity as won in QuoteWerks. All right. I did have a question here to just show this in the desktop application. So I'm going to go ahead and open up QuoteWerks, and we'll show you how that works. We have the QuoteWerks desktop application here. And again, very similar in process. It's just you got to click into a couple different places. Here we're going to go to Tools and then Options. And then just like before, we're going to go to the Real-Time tab and click on Real-Time Setup. Here there's the Pax8 tab, and just like before, looks very similar. We've got the ability to connect our account. We've got the ability to do our field mapping, our billing term suffix, and our commitment term suffix here. Let me just show you how it is a little bit different in the desktop than in QuoteWerks Web. So rather than going to the product lookup window, there's going to be a little icon, a P8 icon here on the grid toolbar. And if you click on that, that's what's going to bring you into the Search Pax8 window. Now, again, very, very similar, but there are some differences here. For example, I'm going to search for the same search term that I did before, Microsoft 365. We'll choose Microsoft as our vendor here, and we'll hit search. So the difference here in the QuoteWerks desktop is that we can still go through and choose our subscription option. I'm just going to choose a random subscription option here. It's going to still show us all of the information down here at the bottom. We can select our billing term and commitment term, and when we hit add, it gets added to the items to add area. So again, a little bit different in that with QuoteWerks Web, you're going to be going and adding each individual product into the quote. Whereas if you have to add multiple products here in the desktop, you can just go through, select them, and add them over into the documents to add, or items to add area. And then as soon as you're ready to add them to the document, all you have to do is hit add to document, and those are added to the document. Now, just like before, if we go and look at edit line attributes, we can see that this has been set to recurring, and the billing cycle is set to whatever the billing term was from the document. So, or I should say was from Pax8. So very simple, very easy to use, and also very similar to what we do in QuoteWerks Web as well. So Gretchen, thanks for the question. I appreciate that. That being said, I expected this to be a pretty quick demo. I don't really have all that much for you. Just wanted to make sure that you saw how everything works. And with that being said, if there are any other questions, feel free to pop them in the questions box and I can answer them here. Otherwise, if you don't have any other questions, you can head out, and hope you have a good rest of the day.